All right, guys. This may be one of the first drag drive repeat only live streams I've done. It's kind of interesting. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna cap this at like 30 minutes. We're gonna do maybe 35. We'll go right up until the hour mark there. I don't know what that is, but wherever you're at. So we're gonna do that, and because Hot Rod Dave has some shit going on that he's got to take care of, and I just wanted, while the event is still fresh, I wanted to come on for a few days and kind of talk about, the event, your experience and things like that. So I've got some pictures we'll pull up. But dude, you leading up to the event, you and I talked quite a bit. And then you were helping us a bunch on the trip, not only with moral support, but also like some troubleshooting on the car that ended up being a plugged fuel filter. Like, dude, we could have fixed it in 3 minutes by just pulling the filter out and being done. But
I know, but it didn't sound like that. So
no. And you know how it goes, man. Once you get once you're like, okay, it's spark, then it's only spark. It can only be spark. You're under immense amount of stress.
Situation with a car with no hood on it, and a multiple misfire. So it was the logic. Your logic goes towards something's wet. Something's wet, and it's freaking the distributor out or something. And ended up
turned out that was not it. It was a plugged up fuel filter that was right on the carb, and that's in our day 2 content that I dropped yesterday. I think 35-minute long video. That's how long the day was. I just want to ask you first, right out of the gate, this is your first drag and drive, right?
Right.
Yeah. So.
Been drag racing 30 years, but first time doing a drag and drive,
What did you think of the racing in the morning and then driving? It seemed to make the days a lot longer to me.
I'll tell you, the guys that I were with were veterans, and they did not like that. But I don't think there's any other way to do it this time of year.
Oh,
you can't do it at night because you can't race at night, especially in Bradenton, because the dew gets so heavy.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a slip and slide at that point. And I mean, I don't know any difference. That's
right.
To compare it to, but I've been told like Rocky Mountain Race Week, everybody races at night. And the guys that I was hanging out with, camp at the track. So they just camp right there where they're at. They get up the next morning and eat breakfast and hit the road.
Yep.
They usually have all day to get to the next place, and then you chill out and race again. That sounds awesome. With the weather and the time of year, I just don't know anywhere in the world or in this state, in this country, you could do that.
Well, and thinking about it, you have to do it because like they ran long every day. They ran until 2 or 3 o'clock every day. So I mean, unless you raced from noon to 4, which would leave you very short time in the morning to get your transit done. You almost have to do it in the morning because like once the sun went down, it got chilly big time. Yeah. We drove every single night of the trip. So it was there was never a day where we were done. Yeah, there was never a day we were done before the sun went down.
No, definitely not for us either. One night, the first night, leaving Bradenton and going to Orlando, we left the track at 4:30 and didn't get to Orlando at 1:30 in the morning.
Oh yeah,
where we were setting up because we had issues. We had some alternator issues on the old organ grinder, the 30-mile way, and we went and bought an alternator. And the one we received from I think it was AutoZone, and it was like right when they were closing. So we got it, ran back to the car, or Jason Schaefer did. We were at the car, swapped it out. It was dead. And then we start second guessing ourselves, like, what else is wrong with this car? It can't be the brand new alternator with the sticker that says triple tested right on it. It says it's good 3 times.
Yeah. But 3 QCs here. Yeah.
Luckily, we had another fellow with us, Scott Guthrie. I think that's his last name. From
Vets Unlimited.
Vets Unlimited. Thanks.
Yep.
And they had a 1-wire brand new stuffed in the back of the trailer, and so we went from a $35 alternator to a $350 alternator, and it worked.
It worked, and that's what mattered.
Yeah, it kept Reggie going the rest of the week, and
Yeah.
I don't know if he gave it back at the end because he didn't want to spend $350 on an alternator. He was like, I want the $35 alternator.
Right. So what's crazy, and I just put in the comments that you guys can find all of your side of the story on your Instagram and YouTube under Hot Rod Dave TV. We ran into you like the morning of day 2, right? So, we had come across each other. You and I were recording up front and things like that. But we were in the Model A, and so we were like, we got to find those guys. And Jason is such a nice dude that he was like, ride with us, find us, do all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
So as we're pulling into Orlando, you guys had just maybe it was you that said had just turned down the Gypsy Nomad or the Gypsy Camp moments before we got there.
Yeah, we had woke up by been awake maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes.
That's awesome. Tell us what that looked like, because, dude, I can only imagine. Because Reggie, the organ grinder, his deal like flipped out, and I think he had a tent that went off the side of it, all kinds of stuff. So.
Yeah, his is like a little rectangle box, and then the lids flip up, and he's got surfboards on the side, and then he has the metal pieces he puts in place, and he can put a thatch roof on it, so it looks like a tiki hut. It got wet, so he didn't use that much, but so he sleeps in his trailer. Jason Schaefer was sleeping on top of his most nights, so he had some boxes in his, and then he just puts a little like 2-man tent on top of his boxes, so he's sleeping in that. I brought a 6-man cabin tent that it sets up in like a minute. It was perfect for me. Although I blew my cot out the first night, I had to sleep on the ground a couple of nights, so I ended up buying a new cot at Walmart. Yeah, and then the boys from Vets Unlimited, Scott and Bob, they had bought a tent as well, and it was like a big teepee type deal. So yeah, man, we roll in at night and set our tent up. We'd make dinner, we'd grill burgers or whatever, and we had a great time. And I'd never met these guys before. Yeah, I set up camping Saturday night at Streetcar Takeover. Mm-hmm. That night, about 1:30 in the morning, they rolled in, slept in their vehicles. We didn't speak. The next morning, we got up and I started doing some filming a little bit. Mm-hmm. And Scott walked over and was like, "Hey, man," introduced himself. He's like, "You want to hang out with us?" I was like, "Yeah,
yeah, I'll hang out with you guys."
And now it feels, after spending a week with these guys, it feels like I've known them forever. And
you're family now. Yep. Yeah, I was going to say you will know them forever, especially, Jason and Reggie are great. I'm sure Scott is. We spent a ton of time with Jason. I actually rode in the car with him for a little bit. And, dude, Friday evening, I was like, I wanted to ride with so many different people, like all through the week. And I realized Friday night, I was like, I had not ridden with but one person all week.
I was hoping crazy to, never got a chance to ride. Jason was like, "Yeah, go for a ride with me," but we never got a chance.
Yeah, what's crazy is
trying to see if we're going to get another run. We never could get second runs, and
the staging lanes was a pretty interesting scenario. I would say, we were up Friday night trying to get a second pass, and they're like, lanes close at 9. And then they kept saying hard stop at 9. So it was like hard lane. Like in my mind, I thought hard lane stop. Closure. We're one of the last 4 or 5 cars there. I'm like, this is going to be great. We're going to get our best run of the week right here. And then they're like, it's 9:01. Uncle Chet ruined the event by his car braking. And they're like, it's over. Go home. So he was in the lane and the Tesla broke down, like it wouldn't launch.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah, well, kind of. That's what I'm saying.
I thought it was Bailey's kids stuck it on the roof. Aiden put it on the roof, rolled the 57. That's what started to slow down.
Well, that's what started to slow down. Then the 2 Teslas pulled up to race, and then Chet's wouldn't. Cars. I'm telling you, it was like it was locked or something. It wouldn't accelerate. So he was staged and ready, and then it wouldn't go. And so that kind of hung it out for a minute, and then the guy that ended up winning the 850 class in the Miata, Mr. What do they call that car? Turtle or something like that. He made his 8502 pass and ended up winning the class on that pass. Doug had a chance to redeem it right after that, and went like a 8:51.2 or something like that, and then it was done. That was 9:00, and they were like, we're over, and we're like, oh my god, we're 4 cars from the back. Come on.
Yeah, we were trying to go again in the organ grinder too. Reggie was like,
Yep.
I got to get a better wheelie. And I had a camera strapped in. I zip tied to his doorpost because he doesn't have any windows except for a little piece in the front, so there's nothing to suction cup to. I didn't have any roll bar mount, so I just literally zip tied my camera to his passenger doorpost, which you have to zip tie shut anyway or it'll fly open. When he does the wheelie, when he does the bounce, the door comes open. So we're having to tie it shut anyway.
That's great. Dude,
I was really hoping to get that in-car shot of Reggie doing a big monster wheelie, but it just didn't happen.
I was going to say get him to do the wheelie and the gear shift action. We were trying to make the decision for Justin if we were going to put where I was going to position the camera, because I wanted to get Reggie's wheelie because he was telling, like, you told us, he told you. Yeah. He's like, man, I'm going to put it on the bumper right here. And we were like, let's go. And so, you're not supposed to tell people that. I get it. It's fine. So he had been doing wheelies all week, like good ones, And so with the 2 hot rods being up there, I thought, man, this will be a good shot. But I wanted to get Justin racing. We had just put the big pulleys on the car, so we wanted to see what kind of boost it was making. Oh, dude. And so we were positioning it, and I haven't even looked at the footage yet because I'm not there yet. I'll probably do that right after I get off of this live stream to see what it is. Hopefully we got a good wheelie video and can see the boost gauge on the blower, because Jason was saying it should see like 18 pounds. Right. Now, the time it ran, it didn't see 18 pounds. I'll guarantee you that.
It did pick up though, didn't it?
Yeah, so we ran close to our best pass. I mean, it was within 300ths of our best pass of the week. So it still didn't go as fast as it should have. We really figured a 12. And so coming back around, because it bogged so hard, coming back around, we figured we'll get to 12 now that the air's come down a little bit and all that stuff. And then
did I read that he hurt the transmission on that last hit?
No, he hurt. So he went back Saturday night in his truck, his C10 truck that's got a blown big block in it. Because then he was hooked after that. He was like, let's go. So he went home, made sure all the stuff was right on the truck, goes up there, and it has no forward or reverse gears in I think it's a 400 turbo 400 in it. And so it has nothing. So it's out now. And sadly, if I had driven back, I would have brought it back with me because his trans builder's here in town. So I think he's going to either try and find a trans builder down there or ship it back up here. So.
Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of them in Florida.
Oh, yeah. Those guys race all year long. I'm sure he can find somebody. And, I mean, that's a big part of the area right there. Living in Bradenton helps a bunch too. So
sure.
So you guys drove pretty hard, but, tell everybody what you drove and the power plant, because I know you got some upgrades planned for it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Drove the 65 El Camino down. It's about 500 miles from my place to Bradenton. It's besides doing the front suspension and the double adjustables and stuff in the front and the disc brake conversion, it's got the factory drivetrain in it. It's 283 Power Glide, stock rear end, everything's stock. To my knowledge, I've had the car since last June. I bought it to specifically build for drag and drive events. I wanted the bed space to be able to throw stuff in and still be able to pull a trailer or a micro camper of some sort, like a pop-up or something. That's really what I'm thinking I'm going to do is pop-up. Because with a pop-up all closed down, you're still under the cubic inches of capacity. Yep. So I drove it down. Didn't really like the 80 mile an hour runs for 2-3 hours at a time before filling up. It burned some oil and it rattled a little bit on startups when you got it hot, but there and back. I had to do a tune-up on it when I got there. I had to put plugs and wires on it, which it was way overdue anyway. Yeah. And I think I closed the gap up on that same spark plug on the way home. It started chugging and missing a little bit here and there, but it made it. It made it all the way. I mean, that was about a 2,000 mile roughly a round trip for me. in a 57-year-old vehicle that I barely know,
Yeah. Dude, there were so many guys that were like, oh, yeah, one of the C10 guys in the little 60-second deal I did, I mean, the first pass the truck had ever made was at the track. Like they had finished it 2 days before, and it was a day and a half worth of drive down. So
I almost put together my little small block. I just wanted to re-ring it and put bearings in it, and I've got the heads off, going to do some head work to them. But I was like, you know what? I don't want to be that guy that is just thrashing.
Yep.
Never have done one of these and get there and break something on the first day or something. Plus, I wasn't racing. I was just in the sick ward. I couldn't get a spot to race. And they were like, well, we might be able to, the sick ward guys might be able to make some hits after everybody else is done for the day.
Yeah.
That never happened.
Never happened. Never one time happened.
No, it wasn't going to. They if they're going to run during the day like that, they need to start earlier.
Yeah.
I mean, the gates were opening at 7, which was fine, but and we had problem with fog in Gainesville. I mean, the fog didn't lift till like 10:30 or 11 in the morning or something.
Yep.
So it was
probably the only day we could have done that would have been South Georgia. Would have been the only day we could have got running early.
Dude, it was cold in South. Yeah. We woke up with about an inch of frost on everything in Valdosta. It got cold.
That's crazy. Yeah. And you guys on tents, that would have changed your life.
Well, we all had propane heaters. Reggie was running a generator with an electric heater. I believe it was Scott's setup. And I had a big buddy heater, which is like got a propane tank on each side. You can't put that thing on high in that tent. It'll run you out. So we went through a lot of propane to keep it warm at night, but it was worth it, man. I'm going to do as many of these as I can, and I don't ever plan on getting a hotel room.
Man, one of the biggest reasons we always do the hotels so I can have the Wi-Fi and I can edit videos. But dude, with as much, I intended to go live a lot more. I know that I said that leading up to this, but no
signal.
Yeah, I could not believe we didn't have any signal. Like you could post pictures to Instagram, but that's it. You couldn't write off a 5-second video.
I couldn't even hardly look at my Facebook most of the time.
Yeah. Yeah. It was
wild. Verizon, I usually have a hell of a signal everywhere, but
not
I knew that going into it because I did the snowbirds and I had no signal. I thought I was going to go down there and go live all the time.
Yep.
And you can do that if you can get on the tower's Wi-Fi. And if you know somebody, I'm sure they'll give you the code, or if you're a photographer or something with a media pass. I tried to get a media pass before I went down for that reason. And got denied.
I think that's what I'm going to do for race week. I think I'm going to start talking to Matt and Adam and just see if I can, even though we're racing and, I'm co-piloting, I still am going to see if I can get a media pass so I can jump up in the tower and drop a video before we leave every day. Because, man, that was the hardest part. So I hope people understand how hard this is, because I don't think they do. Because, you see, 150 miles, dude, that's nothing. How it takes 4 or 5, 6 hours to drive 150 miles. Because,
back roads.
Well, and
with
we stopped
checkpoints.
Oh yeah, we stopped with you guys day 4 or whatever. Well, no, day 3 was the beach day, right? Or was that day 2? What was the date? Right, day 2. Sorry, yeah, I just finished the video, dude. That's the problem. It all runs together.
Yeah.
So, we're driving along. We pull into that checkpoint that's right by the beach, right? Well, we all get out. I think you guys left in front of us. We're right behind.
I did. I was still standing there watching Derek from Vice Grip flip this trailer over the road. I was like, "This is gold." Trying to get some of that, but I turned around. I was like, "Everybody's gone."
Yeah.
Y'all
so
were
then,
gone.
how long does that hold you back? Because dude, Derek from Vice Grip Garage flipped his trailer as he was pulling out because he was trying to make the gap. I mean, granted,
I think he was trying to roll the trailer.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I don't know if he was shooting a gap or doing a burnout or what, but yeah, he flipped that trailer all the way over. Yep. Tires went rolling, gas jugs went everywhere.
It was pretty funny. And then we were already pointed in the direction of the other exit. So I was like, get out of here before this gets jammed up. Well, Justin's wife was stuck in the middle of the jam up. She was trying to back out of the parking spot and couldn't back out because so many people were jammed up. Well, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you go to do that. Well, dude, you end up at that spot. We talked for 30 or 40 minutes, talked with a whole bunch of different people. And then we go to get in the car, and then you're stuck in the car for 40 minutes trying to get out of there because everybody's got everything backed up.
That's when y'all started having trouble. And
oh, yeah.
By the time I realized y'all were having trouble, I was another 30 minutes up the road from y'all.
Yeah. Yep.
And I would have definitely stopped and just stuck it out with you guys and try to figure it out. But at that point, I would have had to double back.
Yeah.
And y'all were like, and I would have, but y'all were like, no, just keep going.
Well, dude, the crazy part is we'd be driving along and it'd be fine. Like, that's the problem with fuel and clogging up your filters is like it'll drive fine for a while and you'll stop and that fuel will drain off and so will all those particles that clog everything up. Yeah. And then you take off again and it's 4 or 5 miles before it clogs up. Yeah. And so that's what was happening. I would get on the phone with you. You'd be like, try this. We change plugs. Then we change the cap. Well, like every time we do that, it was 15, 20 minutes. Then you get back in the car and you drive. Oh, man, it's fine. Blah, blah, blah. And then it's not fine. So that's the biggest tip. If for people that are watching or going to watch this later, listen, if you are going to brake, you're having issues, pull over, not necessarily on the side of the road, but if you're in parking lots, pull up by the road.
Yes, because somebody can see you.
Yes, because somebody's going to have a different set of eyes to look at your problem, right? And the thumbs up, thumbs down. Yeah. But what's crazy is we would have thumbs up everybody that would have come by us because, dude, we were like, oh, it's spark. Oh, it's a distributor cap. We've got a distributor cap coming. Oh, we're going to change the module on it, all this kind of stuff. So we would have never been like, we don't know what's up, which is generally when you give the thumbs down. We don't know how to fix it. So, yeah, we'll start with fuel filters next time. That'll be the first thing we check.
And he's got spares now. I mean, he's got a full array of ignition parts that he can take for spares now, you know?
Yep.
Unless he returned them. I don't know if he just said that.
No, back, yeah, no, I think he kept them just because we –
a module, a coil, a cap.
Oh, well, so we he had brought a cap with him, and then I ran to the store. His wife ran me to the store to get a module and what else is in there? Not the pickup, but the module and something else that's inside the distributor. So we were like, okay, I'll grab that. And then while we're there, he's like, man, just buy the whole distributor because it's only like another $70. And then if it needs it, we're not at 9:00 at night trying to find somebody that's got one.
Right.
So went ahead and grabbed the whole distributor, and turns out it didn't need any of that. So
that sucks, man. And that's not an easy distributor to get out because of the blow.
No, good Lord. And I wish I had recorded more of us working on it. But at that point, we were trying so hard to get in. Hey, what's up, Destroyer 1320? Yeah, man. Just guys, all the live streams are brought to you by Destroyer1320.com for all the Sick Week coverage. We certainly appreciate his sponsorship. Dude, it was nuts. It was nuts. So that was the longest day for us for sure, with probably one of the least amount of coverage that I recorded. We every day after
Orlando
that,
going to Gainesville, right?
Yep. Yeah. And we drove out, went through Daytona, drove along the beach. A lot of guys got shots on the beach, but we were moving along, and we had gotten behind you guys quite a bit, so we were trying to catch back up, or we'd have stopped and done some shots. But then the other problem is
that was the biggest bummer of the whole week for me because that area is so beautiful, and if it would have been sunny, it would have been a totally different trip. But instead, we got freezing cold rain at the beach. Our only day to see the ocean, and you can literally drive on Daytona Beach. A lot of guys got kind of barked at a little bit for getting sand in their wheel wells and jumping on the track the next day. But that would have been awesome footage of just going out on the beach and cruising the original NASCAR track, you know?
Well, and what's crazy is like if you had – all right, let's walk everybody through how this goes down the whole day. So we pull into Orlando Speed World, see you guys. We hang out for like an hour. Jason and Justin wrench on the car a little bit, kind of get it going.
Get it going. Rained out event, but it hadn't started raining yet.
Yeah.
They already called it the night before.
Yeah, because it was supposed to be raining right then. Well, then it stops and doesn't rain till like noon. So we're hanging out there, and we're like, hey, if we're going to beat this rain, we need to go. Okay, well, then we hook up with you guys, and Reggie and Jason are both like, oh, it's fine. Let's go get breakfast. So we go to IHOP. Well, like we're in IHOP for like an hour, and it was fun. It was awesome to have breakfast and hang out with everybody. And then we get in the cars and we're driving along. It's still not raining. I'm like, man, we may miss it. And then some of it just starts raining.
Yeah.
And then, so, by the time we got to the beach, it had only been raining 30 or 40 minutes. No big deal, right? But I thought, man, if we get out on the beach and start spinning the tires and things like that, we're going to get stuck. Yeah. Oh, ruin it, And the beach was wet by that point, so I was like, there's no point.
It was probably hard packed at that point because of the rain. Yeah. And it wasn't like torrential downpour, but it was a steady, misty, just annoyance.
Yep.
And cold. I mean, I put my rain gear on when we got to that checkpoint in Daytona, or right outside of Daytona. I guess it was Ormond Beach or something.
Yep.
I hope they do that route again, or even further up, because that whole A1A with all the live oaks and Spanish moss, if you go further up from Flagler into St. Augustine, it's gorgeous. It's beautiful.
Oh, cool.
And you can take it all the way up and cut over. But I'm sure they'll switch the routes up some and the track some for next year.
I think they would probably keep some of the same tracks though, like because
I have to.
Dude, South Georgia it's the premier prep track in the country. Yeah. So you're going to get a lot of your fastest times at that track. I mean, everybody was breaking out that day. Like everybody was running 849s, 848s, 847s. There's a ton of personal bests set at South Georgia.
I haven't looked at the footage yet, but that's the only real day I got any real good racing content down. Yeah. I was able to get out on the track before they scalded everybody for it.
Yep.
I got in and got out, and then they started hollering. Even the guys with media passes, they were busting their chops about that stuff. And supposedly, what I read, that there was some guy from the state there that was just happened to be there, and he was like, "That's against OSHA or something."
Oh, geez.
And, so it wasn't a sick week deal. It wasn't a Valdosta deal. It was just happened to have a state inspector there at the time.
Oh, of course they do on the day we do. I will say, for folks that are watching and going to watch the stuff coming up, I really didn't get a ton of race car stuff because in my mind, I was like, man, people can watch it. They're going to be, if people are wanting to watch live race coverage, they were going to watch it live. Or there's, 1320 is going to do a ton of race car stuff. Like I wanted stories from the people. And so I haven't even made my list of what I posted all to Drag Driver Pete as far as interviews and things like that, so I'm going to go back through that today and figure out.
You did a lot of interviews, didn't you?
Dude. And what sucks so bad, there was like I did 5 in like a 20-minute period, and only 2 of them were usable because the microphones at Bradenton or the speakers at Bradenton, oh my God, you can't even understand what the people are saying. Yeah, so sadly, because like one of them was Cody Walker, one of them was the dude or the 2 guys in the diesel trucks, the black like Ford, and then the C10 truck. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, the C10 truck is it's a great interview. He did great, told everything great, and you can't hear but about a third of what he's saying just because it's so loud. They eventually turned it down a little bit, which helped. All right, dude, let's go for another few minutes. And we're obviously going to have you on later. I'm just trying to get into my rhythm here of some afternoon stuff. I think
it breaks me of my shyness. And I wish I could interview like you do, because I'm like, I clam up and I'm like, I'm going to turn this off and just
you were just
I'll walk around and talk to the camera off. I'm like, why'd you do that, dummy?
Yeah. Well, what's crazy is I think what I'm going to do next time is I'm going to do a 60-second deal, vertical format with my phone, so I can load it to all the stuff. But then with the GoPro, I think I'm going to do like a 3 or 4 minute video with each person, because after the 60-second deal, a lot of these guys I had never met, literally walked up to him and was like, "Hey, will you put this mic on and tell me about your car in 60 seconds? Like that was the conversation. Name, where you're from, how many drag and drive events, and about the car. And that was it. And then we would stand there and get to know each other for 3 to 5 minutes, talking about the car and like, the struggles they'd had or whatever throughout the week. And so, of course, bring me more footage to edit, but I think I'll do it that way. I think I'll do the 60 seconds with the phone, and then, a real interview with the GoPro. So
that's a good idea.
I guess, I don't know. We'll see.
It's hey, trial and error. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, man.
Eventually.
That's for sure. All right. So what do you have? What are you working on right now? What videos are you working on? Day 1, 2? You said day 1 and 2 or
Sunday, which was walking through tech. I did a full walkthrough with all the cars in line for tech, which took quite a while. There's a lot of cars in a big line. All the way,
just so everybody knows,
facility.
7 hours for us to get through tech.
Yeah,
that's what it took. Yep.
So I did a big walkthrough through tech, and then a little bit of racing action, just cars going by, stuff like that. And then I did day 1, a little bit of that too, walking through the pits. Try to get a few runs, which is not real easy to do with a action cam from as far back as you have to stand from the track.
Yeah.
Don't have a big zoom lens, so that those shots aren't that great, but wanted to add some of that in. So I got about an hour in. That just completed. It looks like a 53-minute video.
That's awesome.
Or no, it completed. No, I'm sorry. It's an hour and 17-minute video.
Come on. That's great, dude.
So that's 2 days combined. And that's before, goes right up before we leave the track on our first drive. And Jason Schaefer was the first trailer burnout on 1320 with the dog hanging out the window.
Yes.
Angel hanging out the side.
Yep.
Kick ass.
Yeah, man. I love it.
Couldn't have fallen into a better group of dudes, man.
They were amazing.
It was a godsend. It really was.
Yep. And
you will see a big blower sticking out of the hood on the El Camino. I was gonna go turbos, but I'm gonna play with the blower, man. Just hanging out with these guys with these roots blowers. I'm like, I've always wanted one since I was a wee bitty kid, and I'm like, I'm gonna at least try it for a while.
Yeah. You can always go turbo later.
Yep.
The blower stuff was super cool. Like I'll tell this story, then we'll jump off. Again, guys, you can find Dave and all of his stuff, Instagram and YouTube, both under Hot Rod Dave TV. I rode with Jason, and we're going along there, and Chris Story is hanging out the window. Chris Story photo, and we're right behind Reggie in the Oregon grinder, and Reggie takes off for us to move forward, and Jason mats that chicken coop. Bro, listen, I had to hide a stiffy. I'm just telling you. I was like, oh, man. It literally, like, I don't know what size tires are on the back, but they're big. I mean, they're like a 325 or something. They're a big tire.
Yeah,
they're
I don't
probably,
know exactly. They're big.
They're probably 12 or 13 inches wide for folks that are listening. And it literally jumped and just barked and spun him, and we were, wow, he's just wheeling this. Oh, I sent my wife a picture of the car, and I was like, I need one right now.
He did that up and he caught up. The roadkill crew came through, and Mike and David drove by filming us in a line going, I think leaving Don Garlitz and going back to Bradenton.
Oh, cool.
And Jason said he shot back up next to him, and he said he just romped down on it. He thought it was just going to kick down from fourth to third because he's got a 4L80 in that too.
Yep.
And it kicked down in a second and just blew the tires off in the middle of the highway. And he said, like, Freiberger was like, dude, I don't know if he was like, you're nuts or what, but we went and talked to them after we got back to Bradenton because they were filming the Roadkill episode, putting the nitrous on that Firebird they had or whatnot. And I was like, what do you think about the the chicken coop coming up next to you? And he's like, that dude's trying to kill himself.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. All right, I'm going to play the commercial for Destroyer 1320. Guys, again, thanks so much for watching. I'm going to do my best to do this every day. Dave is going to be a recurring guest on here because obviously we spend a ton of time. You got a ton of stories that we can tell. I'm already messaging other people to try and get them on too. So we can hear their story from the week. And all right, that's it. I'm going to end it after we get done with that. Stay with me. With me and you'll talk in just a second.
Okay.
If I can figure where this one out. Here we go. Right here. All right.
Are you tired of worrying about your car when it's parked in the parking lot? You're not around it. You're at dinner. You're at the mall. You're worried about it? Stop being worried about it, man. Go over to www.destroyer1320.com. Get yourself neutral release cover. If you pull this up and you don't see that, go over to destroyer1320.com. Get yourself one of them. Do yourself a favor. Get the latest TDS OBD2 cover. That will stop people from cloning your key. Head over to www.destroyer1320.com now.
All right, guys. See ya.